Hello, my name is Darren Thomas, and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to take a look at tips for developing student autonomy. So helping them to become independent learners who do not overly rely on the teacher in order to, acquire skills, develop knowledge, whatever it is that is the goal in that classroom. So let's go ahead and see what we can learn. So we're going to talk about 3 different ways that you as a teacher can help your students to develop autonomy. And that is through reflection, providing choice, and of course, peer teaching. So let's take a look at the first one. When we're talking about reflection, we're basically looking at it from 2 different angles: reviewing what happened and also explaining acquired skills from a learning experience. So going back to reviewing what happened, there's generally 3 things I have my students do. This can be either verbally, or my preferred strategy is to have them write this down in a reflection paper. And that is to look at what went well in terms of their assignment, what they read or whatever, what went wrong, and how they would fix what went wrong. Those are the 3 things that I have them address and deal with in a reflection, because reflection is about them looking back in the past to determine what they learned. Students are often so focused on getting points, I'm talking about good students, that they don't even care about trying to consolidate what it is exactly that they learned. They just want to get the points, get the A, get the B plus, whatever, and move on. But the thing is that the real power in learning is to be able to learn from the mistakes you've made and to determine what are your strengths or what you do well. Many excellent students have no idea what their strengths and weaknesses are because they're so focused on points, moving from one assignment to the other. But the next step is for them to take a step back from their learning experience and try to consolidate exactly what it is that they're doing well or wrong. And that's the power of reflection. So when we review what happened, we're looking at the past to deal with those 3 bullets that I just shared with you. What went well, what went wrong, and how to fix what went wrong. So again, what went well is the positive things, the things they did well. Those are like their strengths. What went wrong is dealing with, the things that they're not good at, the weaknesses. And then of course, you don't want to just identify weaknesses. You want them to develop a plan for overcoming those weaknesses. And that's where looking at how to fix what went wrong can be so powerful. So that is how we deal with that when we're trying to review what happened. Another way to look at reflection is to think about, okay, what skills have I acquired as a result of this learning experience? So maybe they did a presentation, maybe they went on a field trip, they did something, and what new skills do they have that they can potentially grow as they go into the future? And so that's another way to address reflection. Reflection is about having the student look at their past to see what they can learn from that, what they were doing well, what they were doing wrong, etc. Very, very powerful. And it's something that is often neglected because it's difficult to give points to this type of learning experience. The next one is to provide choice. And there's lots of different ways that you can provide choice. You can allow the students to choose from several different assignments or several different ways of completing an assignment. So for example, you might have 2 different assignments, a book report, a project, or whatever they can pick. And then you might have different ways that they can complete the assignment. So, okay, you need to write a paper. You could do a traditional outline. You do clusters. You could do boxes, whatever, however your mind works. These are just some of the ways that you could bring choice into your classroom. And so the 2 main benefits of providing choice is, number 1, it allows for variety. We all know that different students have different needs, and providing choice not only helps them to develop autonomy because they're developing their decision-making skills, but it also allows them to express how they learn or their preference for learning by having a variety of ways to fulfill the objectives of that particular learning experience. Choice also helps to empower students to develop a sense of responsibility and to take control of their learning. Remember, our goal here is autonomy. We want to make students who become independent, who, for the most part, will no longer need our support in order for them to continue to grow as a student or to continue to grow as a learner. And so, of course, anybody who is independent values a great deal the ability to make choice, and they're very good at making choices. This is one reason why they are independent. Whereas people who struggle with making choices often struggle with being independent or autonomous. Let's move to our last one. And our last one is to get the friends involved. And this can be done through peer teaching or peer reviewing, however you want to see it. And so students teach each other. This causes a lot of reflection. When you are trying to explain something, you really start to internalize whatever it is you're trying to explain. You're constantly aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it because you want to make sure other people understand. And so by teaching others, it helps you to master the content so that you yourself are also becoming more independent. And so, yes, they can teach material to each other, but another way that this can be done, if you look at the second bullet, is through reviewing each other's work. Again, in order to review somebody else's work, you must have a strong idea of what you expect in terms of what is good, what is bad, what is poor, what is excellent. And that again helps to develop autonomy. You begin to process and understand what it means to have a good assignment, a bad assignment, and maybe an okay assignment. And that is another way of developing autonomy for your students because they're not leaning on you anymore to determine that. They're developing their own criteria or they're using a criteria that helps them to formulate this. So again, as you look at the last bullet, it kind of supports the first two in that student teaching increases or helps to sharpen the thought processes because you have to really think about what you're trying to do and keep track of your students' understanding. The same thing with peer reviewing. You have to be very, very clear about what you want and applying this expectation to the student's work. And so again, this can be challenging for students. And in my personal experience, they often do not appreciate the reflection or the peer reviewing or the peer teaching. There's not as much of an appreciation for that. But however, this is yet another way that we can help to make our students to become more independent and less reliant on others to explain content to them. So to wrap this up, there are at least 3 different ways that you as a teacher can help to develop autonomy in your students. First one involves reflection. The second one involves choices, making choices. And the last one involves peer teaching, peer reviewing. These 3 can work together or separately, depending on your classroom, to support your students to develop autonomy. So, my name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Thank you so much for listening, and you take care.